breaking news from the Canadian Football League, if it is breaking news. Before we get into the quick six and everything else, this is so unbelievable, I almost can't believe it. David Naylor from TSN, the CFL's insider from TSN, tweets moments ago, hearing Toronto Argonauts quarterback McLeod Bethel-Thompson has been sent home and is being held out of practice today because of attending the Raptors game at his team's request. It's a violation of CFL COVID protocol, which states he must now quarantine 4 days. Game day is Sunday. Well, to say CFL critics are having a field day with this would be a massive understatement. Can I just go back a minute? This is the warm-up for Ecole Electric. Come see our sales staff and in-house specialists for all your electrical needs, which means we cover all the topics here in the warm-up. And I'll get to last night's NHL for our American friends, particularly those here in South Florida that are so excited about another huge comeback win by the Panthers last night. But let's just walk it back. You don't have to be a CFL fan to appreciate this news that just came down. The conference championship game is Sunday, 2 days from now. The starting quarterback for one of the teams, the Toronto Argonauts, went to the Raptors game last night. They showed him on the big screen. I saw the tweet, and we find out today, he's being held out of practice. It was a breach of COVID protocol, and as it stands, according to the Adam Schefter of the CFL, he's not going to be able to play because it was a breach of COVID protocol. Are you kidding me? Stop the world. I want to get off. This actually happened. So I'll get your take, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on how this is going to play out, Moose. But what did you think when you first heard this within the last 30 minutes?
Disbelief. I mean, based on everything that we've had to deal with in sports, I mean, this is like, why should I be surprised now that this is going to happen? You know? It is just wild. And like, you know, up on the big screen, everything's great. You know, Dinwiddie's probably watching at home like, what are you doing? You know, who sent him to the game? What's happening? Why is he there? Who did this? You know, 4 days takes you to Monday. They're not going to push the game back to Monday or Tuesday.
No, starting quarterback.
You know, the starting quarterback of one of the final four teams. All right. NFC conference final, and Tom Brady can't play because he was at the Miami Heat game last night. You know,
he was at the Lightning game last night.
Exactly. He was at the Lightning game. Brady, TB12, can't play. Could you imagine? It's wild. Now, do I think it's crazy, the protocol, if that's the case? Yes, I think that's not. If he's vaccinated and allowed to be there and everything else, not allowed to be there, but he's vaccinated and, you know, it's full of vaccinated people at the Raptors game, then probably should be allowed to play. It probably shouldn't be a breach of COVID protocols. But guess what? It's the playoffs. Stay home. Stay home. It's the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm loving your take, but this is the one thing that I have not understood all season long in the CFL. And by the way, Danny Austin, good friend of ours who covers the Calgary Stampeders for the Calgary Sun, he's on a Twitter diatribe this morning, and he's saying that McLeod Bethel-Thompson is vaccinated. So there's that. So please tell me what's wrong with him going to an NBA game. And having said that, how many times did I tell you that I was in the Queen City this summer and ran into CFL players that were coming up and hugging me, fist pounding me? Cody Fajardo was one of them. You can do that, but you can't go to an NBA game where you have to have proof of vaccination because it's MLSE. My God. I mean, this is the thing with the CFL. They're getting ripped from neck to navel, and they wonder why they have a credibility problem. Now, I said before we go any further, I would say how I think this will play out before we move on. I think this will reach the desk of the commissioner, Randy Ambrosie, because these things happen from time to time. That's why we have a commissioner. And he will overrule the COVID protocol for the weekend. And because I believe Randy is a man of integrity, will stand there and take it on the chin from all those that aren't going to like the fact that he's going to do that. But he's going to say it's the second last weekend of the season and play ball. Mm-hmm. That's what I think is going to happen. Maybe it's just too much wishful thinking, but can he? Clearly he can. He's the commissioner. He can overrule whatever he wants. But will he, Darren? Because I don't always see things as clearly in the political realm as you do.
I know, and there's going to be some backlash. Probably talk to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, probably talk to Bob Young, probably talk to Orlando Steinauer and let them know what's going on. Have a conversation, get their thoughts on it. Doing the right thing is always the right thing, even if it's against the rules. If it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. So what I could see, if I'm Randy Ambrosie, I would, talk to these people. And some of them will say the rules are the rules are the rules are the rules. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It's the rule. People like that, right? They'll never change their mind. But I could see them saying, look, what's the goal here? The goal is to not spread COVID to our teammates. The goal is to not be reckless. The goal is to not do this. Now, the team told them to go. So, $100,000 fine to the team. McLeod Bethel-Thompson can play if between now and game day he provides 2 negative COVID tests to show that he didn't pick it up at the game. Then he can play. He can get back on the field and practice with 2 negative COVID tests. So guess what? You're probably going to miss a day of practice. Team's going to get fined for being reckless, but we'll let you play. But you got to prove to us that you don't have COVID from being at the game. I could see it.
It's a speeding ticket. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's why you're not just a pretty face, Moose Knuckle. So good job on that one. And we will move on, I guess, but it just reminds me of an incident. I want to say 2012 Saskatchewan Roughriders. We had a player come back from the Chicago Bears. I've told this story before, but I'll say it again. Andy Fantuzzi came back on the Friday before the Labor Day Classic, and we got cut by the Bears, and we were expecting to have him play. And all of a sudden, Paul Lapalisse, who was the head coach of Winnipeg at the time, he's like, wait, there's a rule in here that you can't, there's a 48-hour window. You can't, within that 48 hours, play if you're cut from the NFL. He can't play. So I went up to the commissioner, Mark Cohan, who was sitting at Lake Muskoka, drinking his Pilsner, the unabashed Rider fan. They said, Mark, can we get a ruling on this? And Mark Cohan, the commissioner, said, play ball, let him play. And Lapalisse was furious because you know what a good friend he is of mine. And he's like, why do we even have rules then? Right? But that's the power of the commissioner, absolute power. So, and that's what I expect is going to happen here. All those things will happen behind the scenes that you just said. There'll be an inquiry. They'll talk to all the stakeholders, blah, 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 all the fancy window dressing. But in the end, he'll play. That's my thing. Yeah. By the way, the poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is, who advances to the 2021 Grey Cup? And the options are the home teams this weekend, the road teams, or a mix. And I'm going to vote. I've made my prediction. I think Winnipeg's going to win. I have Winnipeg, Toronto. I guess it kind of depends if Toronto's going to have a quarterback or not. Like, oh my God. Only in the CFL. Justin Wolf writes on YouTube, you all wonder why no one can take the CFL seriously. This is why. From Justin Wolf. From my cousin Christine, says rules are rules. And by the way, there's a lot of people like this BW writes in and says, let Macbeth be called Dum Dum. He was asked by his own team to go. Because somebody on the football operations side, probably John Murphy, maybe the head coach, Ryan Dinwiddie, running up and down the halls of BMO Field today or the Argos practice facility going, who approved this?
Somebody in the ticketing office is like pulling up the app. We need to sell more tickets. Somebody get on the phone. Can we get him on a big screen at the Raptors game in front of these people? Okay, we can do that? Okay. Ring him up. I need you to drop everything. You're going to the basketball game, right? Are you sure I should go to the basketball game? No, we need you to go to the basketball game.
Waving it. Who approved this? Oh, only in the CFL. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.